So Snappy and Snipper, Snappy's like this big, Snipper's very, very small. They're living together in this box for a long, long time, nobody checking in on them and stuff. And I would go in and feed them, she'd forget to feed them and whatnot. And you could tell like Snappy's all aggressive with the food and Snipper's not getting as much. I try to separate them and stuff. So finally I got so invested in their lives, I'm like, I'm gonna take the tortoises upstairs. Do you care? And she was like, oh, I'll miss them. And she started crying a little bit. And then I was like, you'll have a lot more space here. She was like, okay, take them. And they went upstairs and stuff. And what happened was I live in that office. So I, smoke weed from the moment I get up to the moment I go to sleep. So I start interacting with these turtles in a big fucking way. With the turtles and the tortoises, I get really into their lives. Because you're sitting there smoking, you're just watching them, and you're like, they look like little dinosaurs. You can do that for hours, like, look at them eat, man. That's what a dinosaur ate like. It was fucked up, You're like, you just sit there smoking, and then
hey, and you're like, hey. Get it like you think they're talking to you?
What am I, fucking dumb? No. But I do interact with them. I start wondering, like, do they like me? I'm asking Jen all the time. I was like, do you think the turtles like me? And she's like, what do you give a shit? I was like, well, I put a lot of time into it and stuff. They're like, I think they're not afraid of you. That's about the best you'll get. And I was like, right on, man. That's love. Non-fear is kind of love. So I start looking in on them more and more on their four-wall lives because I'm starting to think I should get them a big environment to walk around into. As I start looking in, what I see, it fucking blows my mind. You got the bigger tortoise, Snappy, and Snipper, the little one. I don't know if they're fucking boys or girls. Well, now I think I might know. But it's tough to tell. It's not like a dog. You don't see a big dangling set of nuts. Like, that's a boy turtle, They just have this kind of tail. And if you read, like, Wikipedia and shit, they're like, based on how it curves its tail, that's how you know whether it's a boy or girl. I figured out one of them was a boy, at least Snappy was a boy, because the amount of aggressive activity that goes on. Because I started hearing lots of noises, man, like lots of like shuffling in their environment. And so I started going over to watch without alerting them. And it was horrifying, dude. Snappy, the big turtle, would get the little turtle like into a corner and fucking surround it like do this shit where you walk around an opponent like this, like tigers. Kind of like a tiger, but the other one, Snipper, wasn't tigering back. Snipper was just looking with these like big black eyes. And I'm like, wow, what's going to happen? Because I don't know, but Snipper knows. Because Snipper's been in the cage for a while and shit. And Snipper's like, you're going to be in for a show, get ready, And so I'm watching, and fucking Snappy does this shit, and then gets in close, like gets close to its shell to shell, and then takes its face and tries to snap. And Snipper pulls its face back. And when Snipper pulls its face into the shell, Snappy goes for its foot instead, bites onto it, and you literally hear Snipper make noise. Snipper goes, like a little fucking turtle noise, man. Like, who knew they could make noise?
Fuck you, Kevin.
Yeah, like, do something, And so it bites the one's hand, and then as soon as it bites it, like the other one turtles up, I guess, for lack of a better expression, and then Snappy runs behind it and mounts it. Like, it was fucked up. I didn't expect this at all, man. Like, all of a sudden, like, I'm watching this, like, kind of, I thought it was, like, based on, like, get away from the fucking food, doing this shit. Bites him, jumps behind Snipper, and all of a sudden does, like, I've never seen even the tortoise do anything like this. Like, gets up on its back legs and pushes its shell onto the other shell and starts humping, and then literally makes a noise. They open their mouths. I was like, I must be really high. Like, but they do it. They do it whether I'm high or not. The noise they make, he literally gets up there and he's like, it's so funny. You go online, if you go to YouTube and look up tortoises fucking, you'll see it. Because after I saw that, I was like, is this true? And I looked it up. And other people, like, tape it too. Like, because I started shooting it with my phone. I was like, this is fucked up. They make that noise. They just go, that's it.
Stretch your neck too, right?
Like totally. Like, essentially what they're doing is trying to stretch. I guess the dick's got to come out of some weirdness down below and get through its shell and then into the other shell. So by the time it makes this fucking, like, million-mile journey, the turtle's like, because it's done so much. But there it is, humping this little fucking turtle, this tortoise. And I'm starting to be like, well, what's my role in this? Like, I should do something. Like, I'm just standing by doing nothing. Batman would do something, You got to get involved in shit. So I start, like, separating him. Where I take Snapper off, I'm like, no! And I put him down. And, and Snipper looks up with a little hope in its black eye, like, finally, a hero, And then Snappy gets very aggressive, immediately rushes back and starts at it again. Like, we'll try to bite its foot and then mount it and shit like that. And I'm just like, I can't stand this. Like, I can't, and Jen's like, leave them alone, man. That's what it's in nature. That's what they do. I was like, yeah, but we forced these two tortoises together. So this poor little tortoise, this might not happen in nature. Man, he might be someplace else. This is my fault. I should do something. She's like, leave them alone. But I couldn't. So whenever I hear the fucking noise of the rustling on the box, I like slowly and quietly get up from my desk because I'm trying to outwit a tortoise. And I fucking walk over to the environment very fucking slowly lift the lid to find Snappy in action. If I find Snappy in action doing the ee, like fucking essentially raping Snipper, that's when I fucking jump in. And the first thing I did was I picked Snappy up and I put Snappy on its back. Because they don't like that shit. But I'm like, and Snappy looking at me like this, and I'm like, well, maybe Snipper don't like what you're doing. Think about it, and I turn him back around and shit like that. Back on his feet. He immediately goes back to it, man. So I was like, fuck this, no! And I separate him. He keeps trying to go back. Snipper, like, I'm still like, Snipper, run for it. Do something. Defend yourself. Turn around. But Snipper's just in a corner, like, you just wanted to see, you want to be like Splinter and train them to go out there and fucking, wear different colored belts and fight motherfuckers, man.
Throw him a little switchblade.
Totally, man. But he couldn't find the fight. And so finally, I figured out, like, I said, all right, maybe this will be the way. Because I want to stop Snappy from jumping on Snipper and being aggressive and shit. So I was like, let me show Snappy that fucking two can play at that game. So now what happens is, whenever Snappy, I hear the noise and I go over to the cage and shit, if I see Snappy in the midst of fucking trying to hump Snipper, I pull Snipper out, so Snappy goes back down to, it's all fours, and I put Snipper on top of Snappy. And it's, you've never seen a reaction like this. I don't like, I'll get into that. First I put it right on top. And so bottom of Snipper shell's on the top of Snappy shell. And Snappy goes ape shit, just like trying to fucking shake it off, just doing circles and whatnot. And that's fun to watch. But then what happens, then I take Snipper off, put Snipper down to be like, there you go, man. So remember the future. And if Snappy then goes, fuck this, and still tries to go for Snipper, then I pick up Snipper and butt Snappy from behind with him as if Snipper was trying to fuck Snappy. So I try to make the tortoises not fuck, because like that would be silly, but I make Snappy think that fucking's coming. Like fucking suddenly the turnabout, like the little guy's on top now. And he knows at first I guess like their brains are real small, so I don't think he figured out that I was involved. I thought he was just like, what the fuck's going on? But then one day he saw me like holding Snipper. He was like, oh, I get it now. They're working together and shit. So I spend an inordinate amount of time in my day now playing Batman to these fucking tortoises, like just jumping in and trying to teach them what's right and just. And then if they don't learn, or if the one doesn't get it, then I spend a lot of time like literally going, now you're getting fucked. How's that feel, man? Justice! And every once in a while, like, Jen will come in and be like, what are you doing?